Sir, there is a lot of tension prevailing these days concerning the Land Titling Act. What is all about it?
Yeah, it's very essential to know everybody in the state what is the Land Titling Act 2022 because it affects to everybody in the state. The reason is earlier anybody has any civil dispute, he used to go to the civil court and he used to file the case for suit for injunction or suit for declaration of title or suit for partition or anything civil related matters, he used to go to the civil court. Now, in the civil courts, as per the some information, there are around 500 very trained judges are there to give their valuable judgments basing on the litigation. And also, there are 50,000 advocates in the state, those who are totally dedicated for the only advocate profession without any profit motive. In the society, they are doing only profession of advocacy. So, a very expert manpower is available here is one thing. Second thing is, if the matter goes, because the Act says that the civil court has no jurisdiction to entertain any civil dispute in this regard, and they have to go to the titling officer with the revenue authorities, mostly MRO and joint court like that. In this, what happened when you say that titling officer is a revenue authority, he is employee and he has to work under the state government, and there cannot be any independency like judiciary. When you see the constitution, there is a very clear that legislative, executive, and judiciary. And the legislative, executive together they work, and the judiciary has to interpret if anything law is against the constitutional framework. So in that aspect, actually, judiciary has very independency. In this, what is happening when a matter goes to the executive? It is totally under the control of the legislative and the executive. So judiciary is neglected. So unfortunate thing is when we see the developments in the latest and some years back also we see slowly the importance of the judiciary is going on, because when you see the 41 CRPC notice and when station bails this system has started, then the criminal law is affected, and how far the justice is happening to the victims, all everybody knows it. And now the Land Titling Act 2022, what it is making is the people cannot go to the civil court. Suppose any dispute is there, if they go to the police station, the police naturally they say that we cannot do anything in the civil dispute, you go to the court. Now when they come to the court also, now court says that we don't have any jurisdiction, you go to the RDO court or collector office. See here 500 above the judges are there, and 50,000 nearly advocates are there, and keeping aside all these things, only 28 to 30 the titling officers will decide the lakhs of the disputes. Means the disputes will accumulate like anything, and nothing can be happened here. And suppose if they go for the appeal also, and the same thing happened, because the system of the civil procedure code, and there are so many civil laws are there. These all are keeping aside what they are saying. They can give the judgment on the principles of the natural justice. It's really ridiculous. On what basis they give the judgment on the principles of the natural justice? Means as per their wish they will give the judgment. And there is a clearly written in the act that nobody can question the judgment given by the titling officer. And another main aspect is there are two registers will be maintained. One is the titling officer with it, and one is any dispute is pending, another register they have to note down. So suppose if you take the work lands, there are thousands of work properties are here. There are so many endowment lands, and there are Christian missionaries, minorities lands are there, and scheduled caste, scheduled tribes lands are there, and so many small farmers lands are there. There are so many disputes in this, because the reason is some are from their forefathers, they are doing the cultivation, and some are the problem with the title, because they are enjoying the property, they are the real owners of the property, but the proper documents they don't have. In this, what happens? Any person is really creates the litigation, he goes to the titling officer and says that that land belongs to him, and he shows them some forgery documents. Then what happened? Basing on that, the litigation starts. When litigation starts, you cannot sell the property, and you have to get the clean sheet from the titling officer. Then you have to run till the high court finally. When you go to the high court, what happens? Already there are lakhs of cases pending in the high court, and there are very few judges in the high court, and if these lakhs of cases goes to the high court, so then you getting the justice in time is highly impossible. That means one whole generation they have to run around this revenue department, and after that they have to go to the high court. Another important thing is common man even unable to go to the court. So how can he go to the high court? The very such expensive thing, he cannot approach to the high court. That means the middle class and lower middle class, mostly SC, ST, OBC and minority rich people, in this poor people, they cannot afford to go to the High Court, and the ultimate beneficiary is who is a rich person who starts the litigation, because he can afford all these things. So these are the very important things to be considered. People generally, there is a misconception that this whole process belongs to only advocates, and advocates are doing a lot of protest because they are losing their cases and all. Is really not the fact. The reality is that society will be with so much of litigation, and there will be a lot of unrest in the society, and civil, you keep aside civil, criminal activities also starts, and so much of litigation will be done by the some anti-social elements also, and the rich people's law prevails, because those who are having politically very strong, those who are financially rich, they can afford to have this litigation till High Court, and common man cannot afford it. And when there is one around 56% of cases in the courts, as per information, belongs to civil cases. Another thing is there are so much of percentage of the land still there are no proper documents in the state. There are no titles, but still people are enjoying because they are the lawful owners. And all these things gives a lot of scope to the litigant, criminal minded people to have a litigation, and because of the loopholes in the law, they to get the benefited. The loopholes in the law means you are not talking in the law, as per the constitutional framework in the legal way. Only you are giving the title to the revenue officer. Another thing is very important thing is the Supreme Court has very clearly mentioned in some judgments that only the court can decide the title of the land, and revenue authorities cannot decide the title of the land. So these are the various aspects are there in this law. So this is very dangerous law and anti-people law, and it has to be immediately repealed, because state government, why it has implemented this law, best known to the state government, and in the India, so many states rejected this particular law, and our state government implementation is not fair, and that too in the election time. The elections are in 3-4 months. At this stage, it's very harmful to the even ruling party also. So they have to consider all these aspects, and these type of laws are not at all good for the public. And to have the independence of the judiciary, so that common man also can be protected. And what the constitution also says that independence of the judiciary is the only the prime thing to protect the rights and rights of the common man. So in this aspect, we strongly request and demand the state government to repeal this law immediately, and the GO number 512 also to be immediately cancelled.